All right, all sports fans and surrounding areas. It's episode number 2 of GT 100. That is 2025, the podcast, Real Sports Talk. And this is where we come out and talk professional college sports. And on the screen, you can see I got my sports partner to talk more sports here, James Johnson. James, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? What's up? What's up? 100,
What's
100.
100? That's right. We talk 100. It's real talk, and there's some BS to be called. We're definitely going to call them out on it. And look, it goes both ways, right? So if somebody that's watching this podcast wants to call BS on us, you're more than welcome to do it. But we definitely love to be able to bring you on, or at least communicate with you through the comment section and find out why you think we're BSing. So if anybody wants to go out there and said, "Hey, I'm gonna call BS on what Gabe and James said," then that's fine, man. But back it up, man. Let me see why you're calling, because we're gonna back up our stuff with with stats, excuse me, and we're gonna say a lot on this podcast. There's gonna be some stuff that we're gonna be, it's gonna be our opinion. So it's not gonna really make it yeah, it's facts. We're going to bring out the stats, but we also got opinions that a lot of people may agree with or disagree with. But we're going to be talking real here, and real means that we're going to be backing it up with stats. But we're also going to tell you what we feel. So that doesn't always make it right or wrong, but we're definitely going to let you know what's on our minds. And we'll come on Monday through Friday every day. Right now, the weekends will be off to regroup, but Monday through Friday we'll be coming on. And then once we go live, we'll be going live on this page right here, GT 100. The podcast got its own Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube page. So you can definitely tune in live when we start doing that. That's going to be Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. So, James, let's get started, man. I got a little soak at work today, man. I was crossing over, man, and I got caught in the rain, and it happens sometimes, but I was able to dry up before I
That's
got
good.
here. Took a quick shower, and now we're headed to talk a little bit of sports, something you and I both like. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic here, and that's the NBA trades for the veterans. We've had quite a few, so I'm interested in getting your thoughts on what you think. Let's go to the first trade, and there might be more trades that'll eventually come up. This is just some of the ones that we have, and as we catch more of them, we'll definitely be talking about them here on the podcast. But let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, right? So Memphis is okay right now, but they're going to trade away one of their I consider great players in Desmond Bain to Orlando Magic in exchange for some players and draft picks. I think Orlando, in my mind right now, they're going to be better equipped to advance closer to the playoffs versus Memphis. But what do you think about the trade that Memphis made, getting rid of Bain? Where does that lead them? Is this team gonna? Are they going to be? Are we going to be seeing more trades? Is Memphis trying to rebuild here, get rid of some of the contracts, or do they have someone in mind that they want to bring in? Because Morant going to need some help.
Well, I look at it like this, man. Desmond Bain trade could be a money move. It could be a money move because it might be a few players that they need to sign or get signed, and Desmond Bain was taking up a lot of money, and at the same time they was paying Desmond Bain some millions to be really an average shooting guard. He was no all-star. He wasn't exciting. He had some good games, some bad games, but do you really feel that Desmond Baines is the right fit for the Memphis Grizzlies? Because, during that playoff run, where was he at? He was a ghost. He was a ghost. He's not playing in a big game. You got to show up in a big game. When them owners pay you millions of dollars, you have to show up in the big game. And I don't think Desmond Bain was showing up in a big game. And to me personally, I think they can do better than Desmond Bain and pay less money for that type of player that Desmond Bain is.
Yeah, I think they were paying him more than what he was worth, but I don't know by making this trade who they got coming in. Like who do you think they're going to target? Because now getting rid of him, like they were struggling right to with him. Now without him, they got to be able to replace him. Do you know who would you like to see
I like
Memphis go ahead and pick.
Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony he's a good player, man. He was doing great things for Orlando. You know, high scoring guard, slasher, good shooter, young. They got Caldwell Pope. Also, maybe he'll do better in that situation than he did when he was in Orlando. It might not have been the right fit for Caldwell Pope because he was a nice player during this when he played for the Denver Nuggets and they made their championship run. He was an important piece. I just don't think Orlando was the right fit for him, and hopefully, I think that with John Morant, it'll be a better fit for Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony.
I like Anthony. I seen his game. He can play. Of course, that's the son of Greg Anthony, the guy that we saw play for the Knicks. So he was pretty good. But I like Cole Anthony. I like his game. I think what they got back, Memphis, can help them. But I like. So let me ask you this: who got the better trade here? Do you feel did by getting Anthony and Pope to Memphis right now, because Memphis probably gonna make some more moves. But right now, who got the better of the trade? Trading Anthony and Pope, does that make Memphis better in the West, or is Orlando going to be better by Bain because that's what they went out and got to be able to compete in the East?
But I think, me personally, I think Memphis got the best of the deal. They got draft capital, and they got two good players, Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony. And now pretty much Orlando got is Desmond Bain. He might do better in the East, West least, because the West is strong. The West they stacked. And he might do a lot better in the East. But I feel like Memphis got a good 2-for-1 and also draft capital and draft picks. So I think Memphis done really good with that trade.
Right. Where do you see Orlando now? Orlando has been kind of knocking on the door. We see some um this upcoming year, Halliburton's out, that so the Indiana won't be what we saw this year. Probably gonna be out all year. Jason Tatum for Boston will be out. Dame Lillard for Milwaukee. We've talked. We think this opens up the door, obviously, for the two top teams now in the East, New York and Cleveland. The door's wide open for them to get to the finals next year with these injuries of these teams. But where do you see Orlando? Orlando's kind of like knocking on the door, right? Do you see them making a push, especially now? Because they've got talent over there. Now they went out and got Bain. Do you think that we're going to see this team make a playoff run next year?
They have a shot, with all the injuries that's in the East right now. They have a shot. I say it's an outside shot. That's what I say. I say they can move up probably to the 5th or 6th seed right now. But I'm still looking at New York Knicks. You still got the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if Joel Embiid come back, then you still have the 76ers. I really don't have too much confidence in Milwaukee. But they can slide up there. I think they can slide up there. Maybe 3 or 4.
Where does where does Detroit Pistons fall in next year for you?
I think Detroit, they got some young players, got some young killers, man, some young guns. And I pretty much forgot about them. I slept on them last season. It's probably till about the middle of the season I started keeping up with them and seeing the big improvement they made as an organization, as a team. And they got some good young players. And I think they can also be challenging some of these teams that's in the 1, 2, and 3 positions.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking a lot about the Detroit Pistons when the NBA season comes up here next year. They definitely opened up some eyes this year and what they did in the playoff that they had in the games. They look pretty good. I know they didn't win, but they look pretty sharp. They're going to be a young, tough team coming up, coached pretty well. So those years of Detroit and everyone running over them, I think them days are over. So keep an eye out on Detroit. I would actually say, James, that maybe Detroit might.
And best point guard in the game. It went in the East, rather, in the
Yeah,
East.
yeah,
Cunningham is the best point guard in the East.
yeah. Yeah, man. He showed out. I saw their game, their playoff series, man, and they look like they're gonna be up and coming. I mean, definitely, we're not gonna talk that we're giving them the title already, but they're definitely climbing that ladder. We'll see how things work out. Let's get to the next one here. And we talked about the Boston Celtics, right? And Jason Tatum's injury, and there's all this talk about they're probably going to break up the team. Well, they've already done some of that. Kristaps Porzingis, the first one we'll talk about, gets traded to Atlanta. What's your thoughts on, first of all, what do you think about Kristaps Porzingis? He's had all these injuries, but if he stays healthy, where do you see Atlanta? Atlanta's in the East. Trae Young, can Porzingis, if he stays healthy, help out the Hawks?
No, no. The Hawks still gonna be probably 9 or 10. Porzingis, man. There was a big hype around him when he was drafted by the New York Knicks. He's a franchise player. He's 7 foot tall. He can shoot threes. Just because you're 7 foot tall and can shoot threes, don't make you a franchise player. I'm naming the team. I'm looking at the teams right now he's played for. He was drafted by the New York Knicks. They traded him to the Dallas Mavericks. They traded him to the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards, they traded him to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, they traded him to the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow.
I'm telling you about Porzingis. You're a loaner player. They loan you out to other teams. That's what you are. You're a loaner player. They let you stay for 2 years and they trade you because they don't have no confidence in you. You stay hurt. And what do you do besides shoot threes? You might block 2 blocks, 2 shots every other game. You just 7 feet and shoot threes. That's why you're a loner. I call you a loner player. Teams loan you to other teams.
Yeah, James, I'm not, I can't argue that, man. I don't, I mean, they were talking about, that the Celtics, they need Porzingis, they can't win a championship. And like you said, he shoots threes. Outside of that, what does he do for the team, right? Dallas, not much. As far as his game and what he can play, I mean, I definitely he should be able to give a lot more than what he does to a team. But eventually, teams start to figure out that they can't win with him, right? So this is like his sixth trade. And Atlanta, a team that is in desperate need, man. I mean, they got to get going here. They should be a top 4 or 5 team in the East, and they're not. And even with these injuries, with these injuries that are coming to these teams, they might climb up a little bit in the playoffs now this year. But what happens when Tatum comes back? What happens when Lillard comes back? What happens when Halliburton comes back? They're going to be, like you said, right back, maybe last to make the play-in tournament, and then they don't do much. I don't know that Porzingis is going to really help out Atlanta. And the biggest question that I have is how many games will he play? Because as he gets older, he's injured more times than not. And so if you're not on the court, how can you help the team win? So I guess we're both saying we don't like the trade to Atlanta, right? We don't see Porzingis helping Atlanta gain ground in the East.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I definitely got to agree with you. But Boston, for Boston, is probably a good trade. For Boston, we're just going to he's done with us. We'll move on. For Atlanta now, they take up that space, and let's see if Porzingis can prove us wrong, right, and do something. But like you said, and since he's been drafted, he's been traded these many times, and really hasn't done much outside of shooting the three. And the bigger problem I see with Porzingis is he's injured more times than not. So that's a big gamble I think that Atlanta took on Kristaps Porzingis. We'll see how all that works out. But we're saying here on GT 100, don't look like he's going to really give a boost to the Atlanta Hawks. We shall see what happens. Let's go to the Washington Wizards, a team that's been struggling. I like Jordan Poole, man. I like them at Golden State. I didn't like the trade when Golden State traded him. There was that bickering between Draymond and Jordan Poole, and he left. They gave Draymond all that money. I didn't like the trade, and this is why. I thought Jordan Poole, not because he was young at that time, because he still is, but the guy could ball in my eyes, right? I liked his game. I thought he could really help Golden State. He ends up getting traded to Washington. Now he's going to New Orleans, and CJ McCollum is going to Washington. Do you like the move that the Jordan Poole going to New Orleans with Zion?
Great move. Great move. CJ, you had some good years in Portland. You had some real good years. But now you're coming towards the end of your career.
Mm-hmm.
Got rid of older, aging veteran, sent him to Washington, got Jordan Poole, to hook up with Murray in the backcourt. And if Zion can stay healthy, and also with McQueen, they draft pick, they might can make some noise in the West. It all depends on the health of Zion.
Yeah.
I love the pick. I love Jordan Poole. I love his game. He's young, athletic. I like his swag. He don't give a damn. That's what I like about him. He don't give a damn. And I love that about a player. Have confidence, have swag. Don't worry about what nobody say, man. Go out there and ball and bust ass. I love that trade.
And he can ball. Let's be real, right? He can ball. I think this is a great trade. This is a good pick for the Pelicans. And if Zion, and that's the key, if Zion stays healthy, because man, when that guy's healthy, he is a beast, man. He is a beast. When he plays, he puts up numbers. The biggest issue with Zion is just staying healthy. And you and I talked about, he's got to get himself in shape and stay in shape and all the stuff that needs to get done. But we know, and people that watch him know, when the guy's healthy and he's on the basketball court, he's a beast. He's a handful for anybody that's got to go up against him. The question for him is he's got to stay healthy. And for the Pelicans, they got to find a way to keep him healthy. So if he's healthy and he's playing, they're going to win games. Now you add Jordan Poole. He's a baller. All of a sudden, I'm liking New Orleans here with this trade. So that's a good one. We definitely like that. CJ McCollum going to Washington. It's just going to be Washington. We don't see them making any type of move next year. They are who they are, right, James? They're the Washington Wizards.
They're the Washington Wizards. They're the Washington Wizards. Well, they got two aging guards. They got Malcolm Brogdon. They got CJ McCollum now. Then they got Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
So you never know, man. Miracles happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, CJ McCollum, and I loved Middleton's game. I didn't like for Middleton to get traded, but of course, those injuries, but I loved his game, man. When that guy was healthy next to Giannis, man, I thought he was great. He was a great addition. And again, when Middleton is healthy, man, he can ball. I mean, he can ball. I love his game. He's just been injured and unable to play a full season here. So hopefully that'll change this year. But to me, they're still the Washington Wizards. I know what you're saying, but they're still the Wizards.
Miracles do happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other one that Boston traded, Drew Holiday. Now you and I, we love Drew Holiday. We know he's getting older, but we love his game. I've loved his game. I think he was one of the better defenders in the league. Definitely going up there in age, but now he's going to the Portland Trailblazers. And the Celtics will receive Anthony Simmons. Let's go to Drew Holiday. Portland, I like what they got. They got some young guys. Chauncey Billups out there. They're signing an extension. Quietly, he's doing some things out there. More people outside of Portland really ain't talking about Portland. You turn up all these talk shows, ESPN. No one's really talking about what Portland's doing. But Chauncey Billups is a pretty darn good coach. And he's got some young guns. Don't sleep on what they're doing out there. Of course, they're in the West and it's tough. What can Drew Holiday bring to that young team over there outside of that veteran leadership that they desperately need out there?
That's about it. That's about it can bring, veteran leadership. He's on the backside of his career right now. So, but Chauncey brought him up there to be a mentor to those young guards they have in Portland. That's why Chauncey brought him up there, because really Drew Holiday, you had you won some championships, but you're on the back end of your career right now. So now they sent you to Portland. Now you can be a mentor to help these young guys get better. And I pretty much I love the trade. I love the move.
I did. And Chauncey, like I said, Chauncey's a smart dude, man. He's like quietly, no one's talking about Portland. No one's saying anything. They're just kind of being quiet, but he's slowly putting a little good team out there. He's got some ballers out there, and let's see what Drew can do out there. But that for young guards, for young players that you have, that leadership, like a Drew who's won championships and played at the highest level, it's key. Like the Chris Paul to San Antonio, you just don't know what that means. People will look at that and say, "Why Chris Paul? He's back out of his career. He can't shoot no more." He's not there for that. He's there to help these guys understand how you play the game, how you prepare for the game, right? So that's what Drew's going to Portland the same way that Pop brought Chris to San Antonio. What to come back and try to tell me, "Hey man, be the Chris Paul of the LA Clippers." I know you can't play that way, but there's things you can do. And I need that leadership that you need to help me build these guards up and understand how you play in the NBA. So great move for the reasons that we said here on the podcast. And then the last one we'll talk about is the big one for me, Kevin Durant. There's been all this talk about leaving Phoenix. Phoenix made a bad move. They sold the farm, the store, the house, the town, the city. They sold everything for Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, and it was a disaster, James. It had no chance. They fired a coach, brought another coach. It didn't work. Fired him. They sold everything they went all in, and it did not work. So now, Kevin Durant, the first one to go. He had places: San Antonio, Miami, New York was in the mix, Houston, all these places, but Houston ended up getting him. Now, Houston was the second seed team in the West. They give up Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, I believe, for Kevin Durant. Some people may like it. Some people didn't like it because they're saying, "Hey, look, he's old, man. We don't want to get rid of Green." But you and I talked about what we saw from Green last year. Not going to beat the top teams, Minnesota, Denver, Dallas, OKC, with the way that Houston was currently constructed, put together, right? Next year, I didn't see them doing any much better than they did this year. So they needed a superstar. Kevin Durant's older, but he can still play. He can still shoot. I like the move of Kevin Durant with the Rockets, but I'll go to you first. What's your thoughts on this trade and Kevin Durant playing for the Rockets?
The only way I see that it was a great move for Houston, they got to go to the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
They were second in the West. So you added Kevin Durant. You got to go to the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else is a bust, a failure. You have to make it to the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant, you'll be there a whole year. Training camp, preseason, you're going to be there. They do not make it to the NBA Finals, it's a failure. A $54.5 million failure. And he's up to get 2 years, $122 million. For 37, at this time, he'd probably be 38. I wouldn't give him no $122 million for 2 years unless you won me an NBA championship. That's the only way you'll get it. If you didn't do that, don't ask for it. Ask to get traded again.
I think this is his last shot. And there's a lot of things that play in here. He's got players around him. They're young, but they can play. They got to the East. The West was tough last year. And this is why I agree with your statement, because they got to the second seed without Durant. Durant should be able to elevate them higher. They should be in that. And let's say this, Kyrie's coming back, in December, supposedly. So they're still, like you said, you got to get in game shape. We're not going to see the best of the Mavericks next year. We'll probably see him in year 2 with Cooper Flag. Right? So this leaves Durant open. Durant has to be able now to be the man and say, I got to carry this team to the championship. They got to get to the Western Conference, into the NBA Finals. They got to be able to beat OKC. They got to be able to beat Denver. They got to be able to beat Minnesota. They got to. You're right, because they were the second seed without you. You are a big-time player. You come in, anything less than that, it is a failure. And then you got to decide. I think he can play. I think with Kyrie Irving coming in mid-season and still going to try to get in form, I don't think we're going to see the best from the Mavericks. Cooper Flagg's first year, they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be there next year. We'll have to wait and see how that goes because I got them really, really high, and I want to see them succeed in year one. But because of what you said, and because Kyrie won't be there, they'll struggle without Kyrie. They will. No matter how good we talk about Cooper, without Kyrie, that's a different team, right? Now this leaves it wide open. OKC, we know what they got. The door's open for Houston to make a run. Now, I wouldn't consider them the favorites in the West, but they can definitely compete and should be able to beat OKC with Kevin Durant. And let's not forget this, James. We talked about the 2 championship he has. There's question marks and asterisks all over it because he won those with a team that could have won without him. Let's not forget, Golden State beat you. They didn't need you to come. They didn't go after you. They would take you, but they didn't need you to win a championship. You needed them to win a championship. So all of this talk about Kevin Durant being a champion, well, you went to a team that was already a championship team. So you really didn't do anything to elevate them to championship status. But now you've got a chance in Houston, and this might be his last chance. James, he's got to win a championship in Houston. That's it.
We're going to see if he can lead. He always talking about he's a leader. And, this going to solidify his legacy because your legacy is tarnished because you went to a 70-win NBA team who beat in the playoffs. So, okay, I can't beat him. I'm going to join them. They're the won 60 and 70 games.
I know. You're Kevin freaking Durant.
Yeah, you were the Houston team, and they were second seed. So if you're a leader, if you're a great player like you say you are, you ought to be able to take that team that is very, very good and talented and young to the NBA Finals. If you don't do that, you are a failure. And that Golden State 2 championships going to always hang over your head. Okay, you rich, but they won't respect you as a champion because you went to a champion-made team.
Right on, man. We're talking it real. And for Kevin Durant, that's going to be the pressure on him. He's got to. When he comes to Houston, expectations in Houston is championship. That's it. There's nothing because we got to this second seed in a tough West without you. Bringing you in, you're supposed to take us to that next step, and that is to the NBA championship and winning it. So I definitely agree with you. We're definitely going to be talking a lot about Kevin Durant and the Rockets. I personally like it. I was for the trade. I did not think if Houston sat with Green one more year and didn't make the trade, I thought that they wouldn't be able to compete again next year. I mean, they'd be right back where they were because Jalen Green did show James that he was not ready in the playoffs. He had one big game early on, and then the rest of the time didn't show. So what would his future be in 2-3 years? He might be that dude, right? But for the next year or two with
that
Houston,
dude not in Phoenix, they got Devin Booker. They play the same position.
Right. He's probably going to get traded like we talked. I mean, Phoenix is going to probably end up trading him and getting something else. That seems to be the logic thing that they would do, right? Is get him, trade him to bring more people around Booker in positions and areas that they need to be able to build this team up. So I definitely agree with you. I think he will not be in Phoenix. They're going to definitely try to trade him and get more picks or more assets from him to try to build around. Because Devin Booker isn't going anywhere. Like we know that. Like they're going to build around there. And Bradley Beal, well, he's basically got a no trade clause. So it's he can stay and make
dead money.
Dead money. Yeah, so they're stuck with Beal. So I think they're going to try to get rid of Green, trade him, and see what they can get for him. So yeah, that seems a logical thing to do. But I love the Kevin Durant trade. I think Houston made the right pick, but now it's up to Kevin Durant to elevate these Rockets. And you're right, it's got to be championship. The organization and the city of Houston would not accept anything less than a championship. Even getting to the Western Conference is not good enough. No. It's championship and win. It's all or nothing. Yeah.
And then you're paying, I don't know how much Houston is paying of that $54 million. That's how much he get this year. On the final year of his contract, $54.5 million. And he's eligible for a 2-year, $122 million contract. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't get to the championship, don't ask me for that 122 million for 2 years.
Well, he's got an opportunity right off the bat when he gets there if they stay healthy. I mean, they should be able to get to the championship next year. We don't have to wait 2 years. So we'll see what he does. And we'll definitely continue to talk about Kevin Durant and those Rockets. But I definitely, like I'm telling you here on the podcast, I love the move. I thought Houston needed to make the move. They did. Now it's up to Durant to get the job done with his new teammates. Let's go over to the NFL now, James, and a couple of stories that came out about a day or two ago. Tampa Bay, the Bucks. They're in a division where I think they can win it again this year. Not too tough. Todd Bowles signs a contract extension. Look, I like Todd Bowles. I've always been a fan of his. I think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history. I mean, that guy knows defense. He wins championships or a lot of games as the coordinator, but he's now the coach. At the beginning, I was like, I'm not too fond of him, and I hadn't been too fond of him, but I think he's exceeded expectations as a head coach there in Tampa with Baker Mayfield. Remember, Baker Mayfield really wasn't doing much, and he's exceeded better. He's done better than what I thought he could do. Your thoughts on Tampa Bay signing Todd Bowles? And what do you think Tampa can do this year? Can they win the division? I know you like Carolina. That's a sleeper.
I like Carolina, but they have a chance to win the division because the division, is weak.
Weak.
Really weak. Who's in that division? New Orleans,
No quarterback.
Tampa Bay, and who else?
It's Tampa, it's New Orleans, it's Carolina, and let's see, Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, and who was it?
Atlanta, yeah.
Atlanta.
So they have a chance to win a division. It's a real weak division anyway. So it's a progress for anybody to win a division in that division. As far as Todd Bowles, I go all the way back with Todd Bowles when he coached for the New York Jets. You win 20 and 24 for the New York Jets. You had one winning season, 2015, the first year you got there. You went 10-6. The only winning season you had for the Jets. When you coached there, I think about 4 years, 5 years. You only had one winning season. Okay? You use an excellent defensive coordinator. We talked about this before, though, Gabe. Just because you're an excellent defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator don't make you a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he'll be an average. He's an average coach for Tampa Bay. They'll do average things. They're not going to do nothing spectacular. They're not going to the second round of the playoffs. They definitely not going to the Super Bowl. No. So you gave him money to just manage a team. Keep the fans in the stadium. Win me 10 games. I don't care if we don't go to the second round, but just keep the fans in the stadium. Win me 10 games. Because he definitely not winning a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not happening.
He's not. And look, I like Todd Bowles, man. We've talked about, and I definitely agree. Just because you're a great coordinator, we talked about Wade Phillips and being one of the a great defensive coordinator, but just not being able to cut it as a head coach. We've seen those coordinators that are really really good. We've seen Josh McDaniels win under Bill Belichick. We've seen him go out there and be a head coach, and he hasn't been able to be successful. We saw Matt Patricia. When he went to Detroit and what he did. So these guys as coordinators under coaches and the systems can probably succeed. But when it's your time to call, only a few can elevate from a coordinator to a head coach and be a champion or take your team to a championship game. Let's see what Kyle Shanahan is one of those that was a great coordinator and to this point is still waiting to win a championship as a head coach, but he's there. He's competing every year, right? So there's nothing that says he won't get it.
He had great teams.
Yeah, he's had a great team.
Yeah, great team, great players.
But Todd Bowles, I think that's a great statement. They paid him to be average because we all know that he's not going to take Tampa. And look, they've got two great receivers, Mike Evans and Godwin. So they've got some players. The defense has been good. So it's not like Todd Bowles doesn't have a team around him. Now, Baker Mayfield may not be a top quarterback in this league, but he can still play. But I do think that it's going to give you average, right? That's the feeling you get. You paid him money and extension to be average. If we get in the playoffs, maybe we make it to the second round, maybe we don't, but we make it to the playoffs. It seems like Tampa's content. This extension says that, right? Like we're content with what you've done. You've exceeded. We've got to the playoffs, but I think the thing is, you're in a very weak division. If you were in any other division
You would,
in the NFC, you'd probably lose your job, right?
yeah, you would have got that extension.
Yeah. So good point. And again, I like Todd Bowles, but we're just going to keep it real here. Is he a coach that's going to take Tampa to the Super Bowl? We're both going to say no. And if he was in any other NFC division, he'd probably be fired. You're right. You wouldn't have got the extension. Put
Do
him
you
with
think Mayfield gonna take you to the Super Bowl?
no,
But
no.
you $100 million.
Right, right.
I don't understand.
I don't understand that either. And you know, if you put him with if you take, let's say you take the Giants out and you put Tampa, Dallas, Washington, and Philadelphia, where do you think he's fitting with Baker Mayfield?
They're
I
gonna
mean,
be last place.
yeah. So a lot of this is and again, you know, look, he got the money, that's great. And you're seeing some success and they've got some talent, but you also got to look at the teams that are in there. Carolina is struggling. They've been struggling for the last 2 3 years. They've got the number one pick, but that he went to a team that was really awful. It was awful, right? They're now starting to pick it up. You got Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. We don't know what he's gonna end up doing. We've got New Orleans that they ain't got a quarterback. They got a new coach, head coach, and Kellen Moore. So yeah, the chips are all for Tampa. Everyone would say they should win the division.
Yeah, they can
Uh,
win the division.
right. So
Is Carolina for that division.
say it again.
My sleeper is the Carolina Panthers for that division.
Woo, woo, woo. You heard it here, man. I think Bryce did enough last year toward the end to for James to say that's who he thinks is going to come up and win the division. Is that correct?
That's it.
Woo, woo. I'll tell you what, if Tampa doesn't win this division, man, that's going to say a lot because they're stuck with Bowles now. He's going to get his money one way or the other. But like I said, I don't think they're as good as maybe people would think. Yes, and the thing is, James, you win the division and Tampa gets a home game. The record might not be good, but they automatically get the first round at home, no matter who they play, right? Because they won the division, and the division that's weak. So yes, I like Todd Bowles. I'll say this, and you know, he's a great coordinator. Not so much as a coach. I think James talked a little bit about his record, but again, they're in a division that's very, very weak right now, and they should be able to win those games. Carolina now coming up a little bit. So if you put them in any other division in the NFC, I think you don't get the extension, and maybe he's already fired. But it is what it is. We'll see what Tampa does. But I'm going to say this right here on the podcast, James, and I'm going to go and say that if they do win, it'll probably be one and done like last year. I don't see this team making any noise in the playoffs, but I do think they got a chance to win the division.
They're gonna keep the seats filled.
That's it. That's it with those two receivers, and they got a pretty good defense. That's what they do. But outside of making, yeah, it's just not going to look real good. So that's right there, Tampa Bay. And I'm not a fan, but I don't dislike them. I wish them well, but I don't think they're going to do much outside of their division. We'll see what happens here in a couple of months. Let's go to Jacksonville, the Jaguars. They get the number 2 pick in the draft. They get Travis Hunter. You and I talked about Travis. We like this guy, a Dion player, football player coming from Colorado. I mean, this kid's got talent. They ain't nothing there. They picked him number 2 because he's got talent. But I was reading up on some things. He came out, said, "Hey, I want to play both sides of the ball. I want to play offense and defense." I've been reading some articles that says he might play slot receiver. It sounds from what I'm reading, James, that he's going to be more receiver than defense, offense and defense, I should say. So they're looking at possibly slot receiver and some certain packages playing defense. Talk a little bit about Travis Hunter. I know you like him. I know you think he's got a lot of talent. But do you think, because he just signed a pretty big deal, almost $50 million, right? So he's already gonna get paid, and I think he deserves it. But what do you think he'll be? Do you think he'll be able to be successful? Don't know how much defense he's gonna play, but he's gonna play the slot. Do you think he can be successful playing offense and defense throughout every game for the whole season?
Uh, no, I don't. I know I don't. I don't understand some of these head coaches' logic. Why would you take a defensive back? He's been rated the number one defensive back since high school. He's the number one defensive back in college, and put him at slot receiver. That just don't make any sense at all. This guy's a shutdown cornerback. You put him at slot receiver. That's why Jacksonville, who they are right now, and trying to play him on. If he played both sides of the ball, I say 45% of the season, he won't last 4 years in the NFL. He won't last 4 years. He's gonna get hurt so much during that 4 years trying to play both sides that he won't last a fifth year in the NFL. He's not. Because he's gonna get hit on offense by those big physical linebackers and big physical cornerbacks and safeties. Then you're going to go on to the defensive side. Then you got to run into these young running backs who like 6 foot, 225, 230. You got to run into the Henrys coming off that corner. Come on, man. This is not college. These are grown men who got mortgages to pay and family to take care of. Put him at defensive back where he belongs and have some packages for him on offense. Don't stick him on offense because that is not what he does.
Yeah, I saw that article about a day or two ago, and I don't know how truth it is. I mean, I'm pretty careful at who I follow and stuff, because a lot of stuff pops up on our feeds, and a lot of that stuff it isn't factual, and there's certain reporters that I follow, and so when they write the stuff, I follow it. So I'm not sure how true this is, but that's what I read, that possibly slot receiver on offense and packages on defense. And I thought, wow, man, that don't sound right, because you got to have him on defense. I mean, that's what I would think. So we'll see how all this plays out. He comes in and he talks like he wants to play both, and that's okay. He's a competitor and a great athlete that just won the Heisman Trophy. He's going to feel like he's invincible and he can do it all. But as the coach, you got to be able to make that final decision. He's a young guy that thinks he can do it all, but you got to sit there. You're investing money. It's an investment, right? You got to take care of this player, right? You got to put him in position where he can help your team win. He can want to do A, B, C, right? But you got to go, no, you're an investment. We ain't putting you out there to get hurt. Like, we need you for the next 5, 7, 8 years. So we're going to play you where we think you can, help the team, but also it's an investment. I got to protect my investment. You're just not going to throw them out there because you want to go play and play. So I don't see, James, all this stuff going. I don't see him playing both ways. I don't think a coach is that dumb in the NFL. I could be wrong to say we're going to play him. That is absolutely crazy. You might as well just get your bags packed and go, because as soon as he gets hurt doing that, you're gone. They're going to fire you. It just doesn't make sense that way. Like Dion would play defense. He'd play a little bit of offense on the play. He'd be at the punt return, but he was in and out. But he wasn't playing both offense and defense, right? Like, that's just crazy. And like you said, if he does that in 3 or 4 years, he'll be out of the NFL, man. So I don't see that happening. I think he plays one or the other. Now, if he plays offense, man, bad on the coach, right? Because he's a defensive player.
When you gonna get hit by those safeties and linebackers? I don't understand. I just don't understand that.
Yeah. And we're gonna see if this plays out. Like I said, this is just stuff that's being written out there, and I wanted to talk about it. I think he goes defense, but if he goes offense, man, that's crazy. So we'll see what happens. Interesting. We're gonna continue to talk about this story as we get into training camp and closer to the preseason, but that's kind of what it's looking like now. We'll see if it stays that way. for week one of the upcoming NFL season. James, let's talk a little bit about and stay with the NFL. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys, my team. You and I have talked a lot about the Cowboys, and I wasn't happy about Schottenheimer. I felt like let me just say this quickly that I want him to succeed, right? Like I've read so many articles since he's been hired as Dallas head coach. I didn't know much about him other than before he came to Dallas that he was Marty's son. But then when he got hired on, I started reading more and learning more about him. And I think he's a great guy. I think he's passionate about football. I think that he's going to give it 100%. Like all that stuff, I have no doubt that he's going to work his tail off to help the Cowboys win. But I don't like the hire because Dallas should be trying to win championships. And I don't think Brian Schottenheimer gives the Cowboys right now the best shot. I mean, he's never been a head coach. He was the offensive coordinator last year under a Super Bowl winning coach in Mike McCarthy. And he's really not that, as far as calling plays, involved in the game when it's being played. And so I'm looking at Jerry and I'm thinking, okay, Jerry, so things don't work out with Mike McCarthy for whatever reason, right? I think they were trying to get in other words, Brian, as soon as the season was over, it wasn't like Jerry said, Brian's my guy, Mike, see you later. They were trying to work something out. It just didn't work out. And Mike McCarthy's gone. So then I'm saying, okay, is Brian the next best guy that you can get to lead this team to a Super Bowl? Is that the best you can do? You couldn't get someone else that wanted to take the job with more experience, right? And on top of that, and again, I want to say, I hope Brian wins and gets us there. But I'm looking at this and saying, okay, we had a Super Bowl winning coach that couldn't get the job done the last couple of years. Now you're going to get someone that's never been a head coach, right? To now come in and everything's supposed to fall into place. Now we're supposed to believe that Brian can do what the other coaches couldn't do in the past 30 plus years. Am I to believe this? Am I supposed to get behind this and say, hey, it's going to happen? I want it to happen, but I'm going to be real here. I don't think it's going to happen. We've got questions in our running back. Dak has played the last 8 years. He hasn't been able to get the job done. We got a young line that I think is going to be good, but it ain't great right now. We've got receivers and a tight end that's good. Our defense is not to mention that we've got all new coaches. When you start losing, the media's all over the star in Dallas. They're talking about you 24/7. And oh, by the way, Jerry be talking too. All that pressure, James. Am I to believe that the Cowboys are going to finally do it this year?
Let me let you know something, Gabe. I looked up Brian Schottenheimer. It took him 25 years to become a head coach. What does that tell you? He's been in the league 25 years. And you got the head coaching job on a technicality. You've been in the league 25 years, man. How many coaches been in the league, waited in the league 25 years to become a head coach? Can you name me 3?
No.
Can't name 3. And then you got cut, fired by Seattle because our offense was ranked 31st. You come to Dallas in 2022 as a consultant. Then Mike McCarthy, was being nice to you to help you and make you an offensive coordinator where you didn't call plays. Then, like you said, Dallas and Mike couldn't make the contract work for both of them. So Mike McCarthy left. So they gave Brian the job on a discount. A discount. I don't know if you remember back in the day, Gabe. I'm trying to think of the discount cookies and sodas used to buy in the grocery stores. Man, I can't think of the name of them. But you know, the cookies were a pack of cookies were 50 cents and a soda was 75 cents. And everything was the labels were black and white. That's what Schottenheimer is. He's a discount coach.
Man, we said we were going to talk real here, and we definitely are. We're just giving our opinions on what we think. Like, I'm passionate about my Cowboys, man, and I want to win. I just don't think this is our best option. And Brian, man, please prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I would love to be wrong in this. I mean, I'd come in here and apologize. I hope he proves me wrong, James, and I hope that I am wrong. But there's just too many
You're
questions.
not, you're not wrong. That's Jerry Jones. That's your Cowboys. They gave Dak Prescott 60 million. 60 million. Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
Who can't he can't throw the ball 50 yards. You give him 60 million.
I
And
know.
he said the same thing. We're getting better. We're working on it. Bro, you've been working on it for 7, 8 years. The Cowboys been working on it how many years, Gabe? 30 years?
30 plus. Yeah.
30 plus years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jerry's keep the seats filled. Win me 10 games. Keep my seats filled. I got to pay for the stadium. Keep my seats filled. Because you're definitely not trying to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott.
No.
Because you're $60 million. That's your Cowboys. Go
Yeah.
Cowboys.
It it doesn't look good. And you know, people get mad at me. They're like, I thought you're a fan. I am a fan and I want to win, but I'm looking at this now that I do sports all the time, and I'm thinking, I just can't get behind this and get out there and tell people we're gonna win. It just doesn't feel that way. The odds are against you. And you know, the other part of this, they're coaching in the NFL. I mean, you got to be able to outcoach. You got to be able to make adjustments in game, not after the game for next week's game. You have to be able. The teams that win championships make adjustments and make the right adjustments in the game, whether it's at halftime, whether it's at the third quarter. Those teams that win championships make the adjustments, the right adjustments to be able to counter and do what they need to do to win the game. All that stuff you're asking the first time ever coaching a team, and a team that the media is all over every day. They're going to be like a hawk and they're watching
Not going to
you.
be able to handle that pressure. He's going
Yeah.
to fold under that pressure.
It is pressure. It is sleepless nights when you lose 2 games in a row and people are asking you questions and you're hearing things about what the owner is saying because the owner is going to be up there talking after every game. You're going to hear them on the radio. I mean, the pressure is going to get to you quickly, and you got to deal with all of that on top of managing the game. And I mean, look, it is not easy to coach in Dallas for the Cowboys. The media eats you up, right? And so, no matter what people say, hey, we ain't paying attention, you're paying attention. You have to be paying attention because it's all over the place. It's on the radio, it's on TV. People are talking about it. So, you can't get away from it. I just think for your first year as a coach to coach in Dallas, for a guy who, when he was there the last couple of years, was not really heavily involved in the play calling in terms of in the game. You might have been there in the meetings, obviously, but Mike McCarthy's, that was his offense. He ran that offense. You were just there by name, offensive coordinator. Maybe Jerry wanted it. So, okay. But he was not running Mike McCarthy's offense. That was Mike McCarthy's offense. And whether it succeeded or not, this was all Mike McCarthy. So now Brian has to come in and put another offense that's going to work for Dak, right? Now you've got to figure that out. You got to be able to see what you're going to do defensively. I just don't see this happening. Now, if they give him 3 years or 4 years, which I doubt Jerry would do if you don't win in year 1 or 2, then maybe he'll have a shot. But man, next year,
because he's on a discount.
on a discount. He's on a and until that changes, we're going to be mediocre at best, man. And the only bright spot I see is the backup quarterback, which I know you like.
I love that kid.
If he if he gets a shot, things may happen, and you know, we'll come back next week. We'll talk more Dallas Cowboys, and we'll definitely get into some players. And Milton will be one that we'll talk about. James really loves him, and we'll get James to start next week on what he thinks about Dak Prescott. So we're going to dive more into the players, both offensively and defensively, on the podcast, and let you know why we think the way we think. As far as I go, I'm a Cowboy fan and I want to win, but realistically, man, I think it's going to be tough next year. James doesn't think they're going to do much, and he's going to let you know on the podcast why he thinks and what these players and the money that they're getting, why they're not worth the money. So tune in next week as we talk more NFL and Dallas Cowboys right here on GT 100 2025, where we talk real sports. James, let's go to our last topic, and that's NCAA college. And I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. I want to talk a little bit about Arch Manning. I'm an Arch Manning fan. You know that. And I think that the pressure is on him for next year. I think he's got to win. That's the expectation. I don't see a reason, like I do with the Cowboys, why Texas cannot win the championship. They were there. They've been in the playoffs and really close the last 2 years with Quinn Ewers. I think Arch Manning will be better and is better. I thought Arch should have played last year. I thought he was ready to go and could have done some things for us that would have put pressure on the defense. I understand Quinn, it was his senior year. They wanted to be loyal to him. I understand that. Kudos to Arch for sticking around. He could have gone anywhere else. He stuck around, learned the system. Now he'll get his chance next year. Let's talk first about getting to the championship and winning. What is the percentage that you give Texas that they can be the last team standing and finally win the championship with Arch Manning next year? Can they do it?
With the talent the Longhorns have, I think I give them a 90% chance, to win the national championship with Arch Manning and the talent. But let's see if Arch Manning is deserving of the hype that he's getting. This is going to be your first full year of starting in the SEC, the most dominant college football conference in America. Now let's see what you're going to do. And you got a team filled with talent. You got a great head coach. Play for a great school, a storied college. And what Arch Manning needs to understand, you in Texas. Texas believe in those Longhorns. And if you can't lead those Longhorns, you got to go.
Go.
You got to go. Texas loves to win. So now we're going to see if the hype is really real about Arch Manning. So we're going to see. We're definitely going to see. I hope the young man succeeds. I like his game. I've seen him play in high school a few times on ESPN. He looked really sharp, looked really good. But, buddy, you in Texas. If you start losing in Texas, you're going to hear it. And they don't care who your family is. They don't care if you're a Manning. If you're not winning football games with the University of Texas, they're going to talk about you. So he has to be prepared for that also.
I definitely agree. What team do you think, because you gave them about a 90% chance that they can possibly win it all. Do you have a team or two teams ahead of them that you think are better or could be better than them when the season ends?
Really don't. I really don't. I think Texas has the best team in the country. They have the best team in the country. But, I give them 90% because, how the Longhorns got there. They had one of the best teams in the country for the last 2-3 years. And still hadn't made it to the big dance.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely Yeah. I definitely understand. This is pressure for Arch Manning in year one. There's coming into next season. There's no a window for we're gonna wait till he develops. He's got to be ready. He's been sitting back for 2 years, and even though you haven't been playing, you've been in that system. The expectation is gonna be. I know I expect that is championship next year, and I know that's a lot of pressure for a young guy who's his first year starting, but you've been in the system for 2 years under Shark. You've been seeing how it's run. So he should be ready to go. In week one, it doesn't get any harder than traveling to Ohio State and playing Ohio State in Ohio State. So if he wins that game, and then there's another road down the schedule going to Georgia. If Texas wins both of those games, I don't care if he wins by a point, but if he gets on the road and wins those games, then he probably wins the Heisman Trophy next year too.
They probably win a national championship.
And they probably win the national championship. So it's gonna be great to see Arch, and we're gonna continue to talk more about the Texas Longhorns and Arch. You've heard James talk yesterday about the Clemson quarterback. He's big on him, so he likes him. And next week we'll definitely dive more into him and his stats and what Clemson can do, and any other teams that James may think has a chance. Of course, right here we're telling you that we think Texas is the number one team and should be able to win it. But there are other teams that we also think could get up there and compete for that championship. So we'll get all into that next week. James, I do want to ask you a question about Arch. If Arch doesn't win a championship, the word is he might play 2 years in college, right? So let's say this upcoming year, next year, he stays. If he gets close but doesn't win the championship, right? He just got real close like Quinn, but wasn't able to get and win the big game. What will that say for his legacy in college? Not the NFL, but in college. What will be the final thing? Still a great quarterback, but didn't get it done. What would that legacy be for him? That he came in with all that hype. He was really good, did great, numbers are good, but couldn't get Texas to that championship.
He'd be just like his uncles. Peyton Manning was great. He didn't win over Tennessee. Eli Manning was average. He didn't win Ole Miss. So he'll be just like his uncles.
Yeah, and just because playing in Texas doesn't change any of that for you?
It changed. It does change. It does change, man, because, he's on a ready-made team. He's on a ready-made team, man. Everything is set up for him to succeed. And if Texas if he doesn't win a national championship in his last 2 years of college, man, he'll just be just like your uncles.
He'll just be average, right?
He'll just be like your uncles.
Yeah, he'll be just average and that hype and all that stuff.
Archie Manning. He'll be average quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's got to win one, James. I mean, and yeah.
Yes, too.
And everything is set up for him. I mean, it's set up pretty for him. I mean, all this hype and what he does. And look, his stats don't lie in high school. I mean, this guy can play. We're not saying he's being he's hype and all that hype and he can't live up to it. We know he can. His numbers, he's been phenomenal in high school. He's great, right? But if he doesn't win with a team that is set to win, he's got talent all over the field. He's got a great defense. And if with all the hype you come in, yeah, and you don't get it.
You got a ready-made team, perfectly built team, a great coach.
Yeah.
And then Texas is preseason number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that he's got to win one of the 2 years. He's got to win one. There's no doubts about it. For him to be able to live up to the hype, he's got to win those 2. I think he can. I'll go on the record saying I think he can. I believe I'm buying the hype. I'm buying the hype. I think he is what they say he is. And I think he's going to be able to do good. If he don't get it done in year 1, I think he does stick around for year 2. I think he does win a championship at least one of the 2 years. Texas is set pretty. The recruiting class, I mean, I'm watching what they're doing. They're bringing in studs in next year. They got some big, bad boys coming in. I mean, it just continues to get better for Texas. So with this type of quarterback, I mean, he's got to get it done. I think he will get it done. But again, it's going to be very interesting because there is pressure. And I think for Arch, it's how we handle the pressure. I think James, he'll handle it well. He's been, groomed. He's been ready. They've been preparing him for this his entire life, right? Like they've been talking to him. He's been around greats. His uncles have won in the NFL at the biggest stage. His grandpa, I mean, he has been around. He's seen how it's done. He's set up to win. The only thing is he's got to go out there on Saturdays and he's got to perform.
You got to do it.
But it's all set up. So we'll continue to talk more Texas Longhorns here. We'll talk Texas A&M, the Aggies as well. And we'll talk more Arch Manning here on GT 100, the podcast 2025. Real sports talk right here. We keep it 100. Thank you for tuning in. This was episode number 2. We are off on Saturday and Sunday. That's coming up the next 2 days to kind of refocus, and we'll be back Monday. We'll pre-record again. You'll see it late in the evening, late in the afternoon or early evening. We'll upload it. But we'll be back Monday for episode number 3. We'll talk more sports. If you see this podcast and there's a topic that you want to talk on that comment section, definitely let us know what you want to talk about, and we'll tune in. What was that? What was that, James?
I'll tell him, leave us a comment.
Absolutely, man. We want to hear from you guys. And like I said, it's all real. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Or, yeah, you know what, James? We do want to hurt people's feelings. Yeah, we want to hurt people's feelings. We want to talk real. Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't like what we said, if you feel like we're BSing, then call us out on it, because we're calling people out on the BS. So if you think we're BSing, go ahead and call us out, but back it up with stats, or let us know why you think we're BSing, and then we'll go toe to toe with you. Again, this is GT 100, the podcast 2025, real sports talk. James, I'll give you the final word, man. Anything you want to add before I see you back on Monday?
Yeah, on Monday, what I want to add is call Jerry Jones and tell him to get half his money back from Dak Prescott and give it to Milton. Make that happen, Gabe. You're a Cowboy fan. Die hard. Make the call.
I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to put the pressure on Jerry. Not that it's gonna be pressure, but I definitely can try out there, because I look, he got ripped off, man. I mean, Dak's sitting there. I went back and I said, when he signed that contract, I bet you he went back to his wife, family, sat there and said, "Man, we're our home." Why would you want to win a championship? You've got $60 million a year. You haven't done it in 7 years. Why would you now try to win a championship? Like, I'm not saying, I think Dak's a great guy. Like, I mean, I've read his story and what he went through with his family. Bless his heart. I don't dislike Dak as a person. I'm just a Cowboy fan that wants to win, and he just happens to be the quarterback that can't get it done, right? So I'm not gonna like you because you can't get it done. It's not personal, man. I think the guy's great. He made his money. This is how he supports his family. Kudos to Dak and his agent for getting the money. No hard feelings there, man. He's supposed to go out and get the money. They want to sign me to that money. Hey, here it is. He put himself. Yeah, Dak put himself in a great position to negotiate the money. There's nothing wrong with that. He's playing the game. He's trying to get as much as he can. Kudos to him for putting himself in that position and getting the money. But as far as a Cowboy fan and winning games, he's not going to do it. It's money wasted to him, to a quarterback that to this point has not been able to get us to the NFC Championship, much less to the Super Bowl, much less to win one. And what makes you think later now in his career, with a couple of injuries that he has had now, that this or next year is going to be the year? It ain't going to be. But
it's going to be the year, Cowboy fans. This is going to be the year y'all win a Super Bowl. I'm predicting that. The Cowboys win a Super Bowl. I am predicting that. I'm going out on the limb for that. Y'all going to win a Super Bowl.
Oh my God, don't do that to me. I wish, but we're not. But look, there is a change now. You do have a young quarterback, before we go, that the talk shows, sports talk shows during the day, praise and have said, Dak, if you don't get it done and Milton gets a chance, you better pack your bags. You're gone. So everybody knows that it's not Cooper Rush. You got a dude that wants to win and can play and throw the ball. If he don't get it done, there's a guy right behind you that's itching to have that chance and can get it done. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he'll be like Kirk Cousins. There'll be $60 million backups. That's what I call Jerry and tell him get half that $60 million and give it to Milton.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're going to see Milton right off the bat here in preseason, but everything, and you've talked about him too. When you were talking to me about him, I didn't know much about him. Then I started reading up on him. But just like you've been talking, people from professional writers, talk shows, they're saying the same thing you are, James. They're saying, hey, he's the real deal. He can play and he wants a shot. And if Dak isn't getting it done, he's going to feel the pressure of a guy behind him that if Dallas says, hey, look, we got to start winning, they've got a guy that possibly could get it done. And then, Dak, Tony had to sit out and give it to you. you might have to sit out and now pass the torch over to Milton. We'll see what happens, but we definitely got a guy, if Dak doesn't get it done, that now we feel as a backup can be a starter and possibly lead this team deep into the play.
Next generation, man. He could.
Absolutely. So we love it. So again, we'll be back on Monday. We'll pre-record Monday at 4 o'clock, and it'll be uploaded to all of the GT 100 pages. That's you can check it out on Facebook, our GT 100 podcast. It's on Facebook page, our Twitter page, and our YouTube. So go to either one. And starting next week, we're also going to upload these to Spotify. So you can also catch it on Spotify. So we're going to be on YouTube. These podcasts going to be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Spotify. So you can get on the road and be listening to the podcast as you're going to your destination. So we're going to continue to grow and make this better. We're here for the long haul, James and I. So hopefully you'll like it. And we hope that you'll actually tune in, check it out, share it, like it, and also jump in and give us some comments that we can reply back. And we'd love to go toe to toe with you. And again, we talk NFL football, we talk NFL, we talk baseball, we talk basketball, we go to college and do the same. So we can talk boxing, we can talk UFC, whatever you want to talk about, let us know. We'll do the research. And then we'll definitely talk about it right here on GT 100. James, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, man. I'll see you over the weekend. If not, I'll see you back on Monday. Have a great one.
Peace out. 100.